and welcome to the Business Talk podcast. I am your host Deepak. I am delighted to welcome Professor Anuj Kapoor, an esteemed academic and researcher in the field of marketing, with a keen interest in digital video advertising, AI human interaction, and digital platforms as our distinguished guest for today's podcast episode. Professor Kapoor is currently an assistant professor of marketing at the esteemed Robert J. Trulaske Senior College of Business, University of Missouri. He brings a vast fountain of knowledge and expertise, significantly enhancing the academic landscape with his insightful contributions. In this episode, he will share insights from his research topic, personalization at scale, using AI to tailor marketing experiences for individual customers. So, without further delay, let's welcome Professor Anuj Kapoor to the podcast. Professor Kapoor, it's a true delight to have you with us today. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and we look forward to the insights you will share.
Deepak bhai, first of all, sincere thanks, and I'm full of gratitude for inviting me to this broadcast and giving me the opportunity to be here. I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thanks a
Th-
lot.
Thank you, Professor Kapoor. Uh, Professor Kapoor, can you explain what personalization at scale means in the context of marketing and why it has become such a crucial strategy for businesses today?
Right. So, like you mentioned, personalization at scale, right? So I'll just mention two words here. So first word is personalization. Personalization is whatever feels closer to you as a customer is what we call as personalized, right? And we have seen that in our own behaviors also, and research has also corroborated that. Sometimes my own research and also other people's research that, for example, I send you an email and the name says, the subject of the email says that Deepak Bhatt is exclusively for you, right? Your tendency to open that email increases. Reason being, it's personalized for you. You can feel it's meant for you, right? When you go to a hotel and they just call you by your first name, right? Or by your last name, rather than just saying you calling you as a customer, right? That makes you feel connected. So that is where personalization works, right? And when we say at scale, humans can personalize things only in a limited way. But if you want to reach a scale, technology can help you, especially AI can help you, right? So the example there is when you go to Netflix and watch your favorite streaming or any streaming platform, and you want to see your favorite movie, it gives you a bunch of suggestions, right? And all those suggestions for content are based on your past history, what you have seen, right? So in a way, it's also personalized for you. Amazon does the same, right? They tell you that, hey, this is what you might like based on your purchase history or based on people around you. Now, humans cannot go to every Amazon account and give you recommendations. Similarly, Netflix. So there are algorithms at the back end, which are AI powered, and these machine learning algorithms, what we call them, help you scale personalization. And that is meant at personalization by scale. How does it impact businesses? It leads to customer satisfaction, delight, and consumer and brand form relationships. And that also helps in revenue growth as well as profits. So it's a win-win for both customers as well as the brands.
So, Professor, how has the concept of personalization evolved with the advent of AI and machine learning technologies?
Yeah, that's a good question. So as I was mentioning to you, see, scaling is something that is now can be done quickly with the help of AI. You cannot scale things faster. Now algorithms help you scale. Number one. Number two, which was not happening before, but can happen now with the help of AI is hyper personalization, which is not even personalization at one level. It goes even a layer inside, and you can even hyper personalize. For example, suppose you go to your favorite news channel, it can be NDTV, CNN, whatever channel you open. Every time you open it, say now you open and you refresh and you open it again, even if it is you, it will show you different ads when you refresh it. Now that is within a minute you can see different ads catered to you, right? That is hyper personalization, which was not possible before. Now, this is the good part. The third angle is, which is a little scary or something to consider, is the ethics part. Because of AI exactly now getting to know what you are thinking, they also have the control over you. Because if they can make you, they can break you also. So similarly, if they can help you with providing you personalized content, that means they know what you are thinking. And you are giving that power to others to control how you think. And that is why if you see all these regulations, right, TikTok getting banned in the US and many places, even in India, because the government also thinks that someone else can understand what you want. They can also then start giving you content which is probably not good for you, but you will keep on consuming it, right? So that is the third angle, is a little bit more on the ethics and the regulatory side and the fairness side of things.
Very insightful. Uh, what are some of the key ways AI is being used to tailor marketing experiences for individual customers?
Yes, again, a couple of dimensions here. See, the one is the recommendation systems part, right? That is the core of, you use Snapchat, you use Instagram, Twitter, X now, Facebook. Everywhere these feeds. So earlier the feeds used to be whom you follow and you see their post. Now it's like a curated algorithm driven feed, which is for you, which the algorithm thinks is probably good for you. So that is one discovery based on not your connections, but what the algorithm thinks is good for you. So that is one way of personalizing. The second one is still more aligned with the traditional way of doing things, where you use AI and AI based personalization in traditional marketing mediums, WhatsApp messaging, right? Text messaging, um, email marketing, but it still has that AI component to it, right? So the first one was for you kind of a content, and the second one is moving AI into more traditional forms of advertising.
Yeah. So how does AI differ from traditional methods in delivering personalization content and recommendations?
Right. First, as we have been mentioning, scale. Traditional methods cannot scale in terms of personalization, right? What is traditional method? Newspaper advertising, banner boards. You cannot, so you can have a banner board, say, in one zip code, right? But that is similar for everyone. Everyone who passes through the road will see that same banner, right? You can change it on the basis of, say, pin code or zip code, right? But not more than that. Or you can have one in one street, which is impossible, right? But hypothetically, let's assume. So still everyone on the street will see the same banner, right? But when it's AI powered, it's digital. Deepak, Anuj, all of us can see different ads, say even after every 5 minutes. How awesome is that, right? That is one, right? So scale is, then as I said, you can contextualize, right? For example, I had a breakfast and I had a savory breakfast, right? Now, because my watch knows and I entered what I ate, it somehow knows that I had a savory breakfast and I didn't have enough protein. Okay. The next recommendation it will give me for my lunch is going to be more sweeter, but it might have a more protein component. So just imagine how things move real time. So that real time nature is also something which is very different. So scaling and real time nature of the uh, content or marketing interventions is, which is not possible in traditional formats.
Okay, yeah. What are some of the challenges companies face when trying to implement personalization at scale? And how can this be addressed?
Right. I think I'll club them into four. First is the computational costs. It's just expensive, right? So if you look at machine learning algorithms, they are like a human brain at scale, but human brain needs food, and this brain or the machine learning brain needs compute power. So that's very expensive. So that's why AWS, NVIDIA, all their stocks are up. Reason being that they are fueling the machine learning algorithms, right? The second one is data, right? you have to train your algorithms on data. And that's why you see the data can also be first party, second party, third party, even zero party. First party is when you collect your own data, and third party is when you are reliant on others to get the data. First party data is now becoming mandatory. So a lot of earlier FMCG companies were relying on just bypass their marketing division to external. Now they are building even their own platforms to collect data to know their customers. So that is again something data, you have to have power over data, not because of strategic purposes to fuel your algorithms, but also of regulations, right? Third party cookies. So Google first said that they'll take them out. Now they say, no, we won't. So that regulatory environment also makes it, that is the third one, makes it all the more difficult. And the fourth one, which is essentially very important here, is the ethics part of it, right? Suppose you have a, and this has happened before, and there are a lot of lawsuits also which have happened for a company. For example, Apple had a credit card and they gave this, there's a husband wife living, same partners living in a house, and the husband gets a credit card but the wife gets declined, right? It can be for strategic reasons, it can be just the data shows the credit risk taking behavior of individuals differently. But if there is a connotation that say women are not being favored or men are getting favored, then again that is opening the company to litigation. So to mitigate those chances, you also need to be on the safer side. And that's where you have to build your whole pipeline and running the algorithms. So you need the data environment also. Sorry, it was a long-winded answer, but
Yeah,
these are the.
that's completely fine, Professor. So, how important is data quality in achieving effective personalization at scale? And
Yeah,
what types of data are most valuable for AI-driven personalization?
that's a great question. You can, first of all, I'll demarcate data into several buckets. One can be behavioral data. For example, when I go to Amazon, I am scrolling through Amazon without even thinking through. I keep on looking at reviews, then I go back. Then there can be someone else who can just directly go click on something, go to the cart, right? The algorithm can understand the first person was more fidgety in the behavior and actually makes more research before purchasing. But the second one is more decisive in the action, right? That is perfectly fine. Both the behaviors are fine, but the algorithm understands that probably one is more risk averse and one is less risk averse, those kind of factors. So your behavioral pattern can also reveal a lot about you. The second is just on the basis of demographics, right? There are certain products that males purchase, certain products that females purchase, certain products older consumers purchase. So demographics. The third one is third party data, which has nothing to do with what you are doing on a specific platform, but it might be coming from one of the apps that you have on your phone that can tell something about you. For example, suppose I'm Zomato and I get some data on your credit card spending from a credit card provider. And I know that you spend a lot of money on credit cards, right? Or you have credit card debt, right? I might think that you probably like sugar more, right? Reason being, or you like more impulsive purchases, right? Because if you have more credit card debt, that's a connotation that you take decisions quickly, right? And you don't wait. And there is enough evidence which suggests that folks who don't like to wait eat sugar more or eat those kind of substances more. So in my Zomato feed, I'm going to show you content which is, or food items which are quicker to consume, and those are like what should I call them, um, more delightful or probably less healthy for you, right? But you will consume them more. Now it has nothing to do with your behavior on credit card spend, has nothing to do with Zomato, but because I'm privy to that information, I can use that third party information also to tailor it to my platform, right? So demographics, behavioral, and then third party information, which can be clubbed together and contextualized. And all this data clubbed together should be of high quality. When I say quality, I think the word which can be used is contextualized. You should be able to put it into your own context, and that should do wonders. And as I said, these are the three kinds of data buckets. For certain companies, you will see just the demographics are sufficient. For certain contexts, you might need behavioral as well as demographic information. So it's very context and company specific.
Yeah. Can you share some insights into how companies are balancing the use of personal data with consumer privacy concerns?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on geographies. For example, EU is just like the very hard on the privacy matrix, right? There are a lot of lawsuits also, antitrust lawsuits as well, where the Googles of the world have been forced to delete past history of the user search data. But then there are other economies, even US, even India, where the privacy laws are catching up, but they are not just there yet, right? So there the laws are still in gray and you have a lot of leeway, right? See, GDPR compliance is now something that is every company is becoming GDPR compliant more or less. But then there is one thing about following the rules in letter versus in spirit. So you can follow it on in letter, but in spirit that following is very different. So every company is becoming GDPR compliant. That's like the first thing to do, right? If you are a firm for privacy. But do you really care for privacy will come from how you define the cookies for the publishers, right? Accept all cookies versus manage cookies and what you do with them will define what companies do with the data.
Hmm. So do you think there is a risk over personalization where consumers might feel overwhelmed or trip out by high tailored experiences?
That's a great question. There is some research also which suggests that sometimes personalization can backfire. There is a phenomenon in psychology known as reactance, which is when I feel that someone is snooping on me or someone is trying to control my behavior, right? That is enough of a recipe for me to back out as a consumer and say, hey, I don't want to be tracked. Unfortunately, and this is based on some of the research at a smaller scale I have done with some MBA students, where we saw that users in India and in a lot of countries still don't care about privacy as much as they think they do, right? So users, until they become aware of, let me put it this way, there is a privacy versus convenience trade-off, okay? Uh, until the convenience value is high, users don't care about privacy. But the moment the convenience value starts going down, the privacy angle keeps coming up. So as a firm, my one liner is, if you want people to be away from those, not to care about privacy, make it very convenient for them to the experience that they have with the brand, they will forget about privacy.
Uh, Professor, can you share any successful case studies or examples of companies that have effectively used AI to personalize their marketing at scale?
Yeah, every company, LinkedIn is a good case of personalization and also privacy friendly. They have this differential privacy unit, which works on providing a more safe usage of data, which is not too intrusive, but it's very personalized, right? Everyone LinkedIn feed is very personalized. Twitter, X, right? Instagram. I even I don't know if you remember that Shah Rukh Khan ad that Cadbury did, right, on Diwali. Now that was also something that was hyper personalized in terms of every zip code you are in. You see a different ad basis the shop owners in your area. So these days, it's basically almost all the companies are trying to leverage personalization in some way or the other.
How do you see the future of personalization at scale evolving, particularly with advances in AI and machine learning?
Three ways. It will become more privacy friendly. So algorithms will be trained on privately trained models, follow more differential privacy principles. It will take some time, not right now, but along the years. So it will become more privacy conscious. That will be something to consider. Second, it will become more and more personalized, right? And the third one is fairness angle will also come to play. Inclusion, fairness, right? Which is the algorithms will be trained on more diverse data sets. Algorithms will be also checked for more quality concerns, that they are not behaving differently with on the basis of age, sex, gender, and those kind of principles. More personalization, fair algorithms, and privacy preserving personalization is something that I see where the world is headed.
How can smaller businesses with limited resources leverage AI for personalization without
That
being overwhelmed by the complexity?
That's a great question. I think if I speak about the Indian context, see, first of all, the just a global view is that bigger companies can leverage personalization more. That's just the world. That's how the world is working right now, because they have data, they have compute power. So there is they are at an advantage right now. But India is in a unique situation where they leverage WhatsApp, which Western world does not that much. The businesses. So if you use WhatsApp for marketing, it provides you a lot of personalization tools, and there are other service providers that you can work with, where WhatsApp can be way of providing more personalized content. And that's a power that does not reside with a lot of Western world. So there, even smaller players can work very well. And India has that advantage. That's very India specific dominance.
Hmm. What ethical considerations should companies keep in mind when using AI for personalized marketing?
Two ways, front end and back end. Back end is what kind of data are you using, right? First party, are you using your own data? Third party, how do you handle the data, right? Is it encrypted? Do your employees understand the value of data? Can they see my transactions? Back end. Front end is, do you ask consumers about their preferences? Cookie management, right? We all see those headliners which come accept all cookies, manage cookies. How easily or accessible you are making it for users from the front end. That's how you can manage privacy, back end and front end.
How can businesses measure that their AI-driven personalization strategies are both effective and ethical?
There are two dimensions to it. First is time horizon, right? Short term versus long term. You may not be able to measure few things in short term, but you might need a longer term horizon to see that. The second thing is just having guardrails, right? In the sense, um, initially when the image algorithms came into play, and it was a huge controversy when they looked at darker skin toned humans, they were classifying them as gorillas, right? Google found out that this is not okay, and they quickly then changed it, right? So if you have guardrails in place where before even the output gets spit out, there is an inner check within the algorithm that can see that hey, it's working or it's not, or you test it more like A/B testing, you can save yourself from a lot of this flack, which comes if you do it at a scale. I think more testing, more experimentation is can help you. Don't roll out a feature on everyone, roll it out on few users, see how it works, and both short-term and long-term impact. And then you roll out that. That's the best way to achieve inclusion and ethical fairness in AI.
Professor, can you share some of the insights on how AI can impact on sales executives and sales representatives, because they are always in a fear that AI will take over our jobs basically.
Yeah,
And
that's a great question. Yeah. I think multiple ways, and there is now research also coming up. A lot of work is happening in China as well in this field. Um, Sales rep can leverage AI in multiple ways. First way is AI is not a displacer of salespeople. It's actually an enhancer. It will augment their behavior. When I say that, sales rep, so let me put it this way. Sales lead management, like which lead is better, which lead you should go after. AI can help you with that. Okay. The second one is motivating sales uh, representative, right? So, for example, certain people get motivated by negative externalities. In the sense, if I tell them, oh, if you don't do this, you might fail. certain people get motivated by positive external, where I say that, hey, you are doing well, you just need to push more and you will do even better, right? Which one works for whom? AI can tell you, right? Basis the behavior. So motivation also can come from AI. So sales lead, motivation. And the third one can be just looking at the profile of the sales people and the consumers and the kind of products they purchase. It can also tell them what products are suited for specific consumers. So you can pitch those products to them. So that way it can also help in product presentation, what to present, what product suits the consumer. So it's an augmenting the behavior of sales rep rather than replacing them.
Professor, last question. How do you foresee consumer expectations around personalization evolving? And what can brands do to stay ahead of these changes?
Yeah, from the consumer perspective, consumers are becoming, as I said, more inclusive. Number two, consumers are becoming more privacy sensitive, right? And third, consumers demand personalization. They want something which is tailored to them, right? How companies can leverage, as I said, privacy friendly, right? Have those practices, both um, front end and back end, and just care about your consumers. As if I would suggest the one tagline will be treat your consumers the way you want to be treated as a consumer, and that will solve the purpose for you, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated.
Very nice. Uh, as we wrap up today's episode, I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Professor Anuj Kapoor for sharing his invaluable insights on the topic of personalization at scale and how AI is revolutionizing the way businesses tailor marketing experiences for individual customers. Professor Kapoor, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the podcast, and we truly appreciate the time and knowledge you have shared with us today. Listeners, stay tuned for more insightful discussions with leading experts as we continue to explore the dynamic world of business marketing. Until next time, I'm your host Deepak, signing off. Thank you so much, Professor Anuj Kapoor.
Thank you, Deepak Bhai, once again. And I am a regular listener of your podcast. These are invaluable source of good content. And hats off to you for taking out time and managing the schedule across the time zones and providing us as a listener as well with such amazing content. Thank you once again for having me.
It's an honor for us. Thank you, Professor Kapoor.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.